night in shining armor from a long time ago.
Good!
Hey, Rob from Order 42 here. Today, we're going to be talking about Cobra Kai Season 3. Now, I'm going to start off without talking about spoilers, so if you haven't seen it yet, you can still watch the beginning of this wrap-up. Cobra Kai, as you know, is a show about irresponsible adults and stupid teenagers. If you haven't started watching Cobra Kai, I'll just tell you that William Zabka is the reason to watch this show. He is great as Johnny Lawrence. He brings a almost a sadness to his to his life that I just really enjoy, and he's actually probably the funniest character on the show as well. And as far as the teens go, Miguel is by far the best one. The returning characters from the Karate Kid franchise, it's just a lot of fun, and it's done in a way that's, I would say, dips a little too far into nostalgia, but it's still worthwhile, and it's still fun. I will say that as far as season 3 goes, the show does a fairly good job of trying to balance the drama between the adults and the teens. The problem is the teens drama is a little annoying a lot of the times, and it's just not as interesting to me. Even though I was really only a fan as a kid, I was really only a fan of Karate Kid and Karate Kid 2. I never really saw Karate Kid 3. I don't think. I see clips from it, and I'm like, I don't remember that at all. And the next Karate Kid, I never watched that one either. So the only thing that I would say is that the show, sometimes it's trying to be really realistic and almost hard-hitting in a way. But then it's kind of frustrating to me when it gets too goofy and too out of bounds. It just seems like some of the stuff that happens is just, it's kind of ridiculous, and it kind of takes me out of the show. Overall, I think if you're a casual fan of Karate Kid, I think the show is definitely worth watching, especially if you have Netflix. It's kind of a no-brainer. Why not try it? The only thing that you need to be aware of is that there is a fair amount of cheese involved, and it's almost too much at times. But I think it brings it back enough to where it's still an enjoyable good time, especially if you have a Netflix subscription. I think it's a no-brainer. For season 3, I would probably give it a 3 out of 4 stars. In fact, I think all of them, they never really, to me, they never elevate into something more than just, that was a good time, but nothing like, oh my God, you've got to go see this. That's just the way I feel about it. I don't think that's a bad review. I just think that it's not the best television I've seen this year. Now we're going to get into spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen season 3, I would highly suggest that you turn this off and return to it later. It's just, I don't want to give anything away that would ruin your enjoyment of the show. It's definitely worth watching especially if you've already watched the first 2 seasons, as I've mentioned. So yeah, come back after you're finished. But the first thing I want to talk about is the bad in season 3. The stuff that just annoys me. I guess first of all, I think the look, I know that the show's kind of having a good time, and it's just there to entertain and all that stuff, but come on. How are most of the characters on this show not in jail? Because there is there's some crazy stuff going on in this show. Snakes in Daniel's car dealership? Are you serious? That would involve breaking and entering, right? And the show has already shown us that there are security cameras at LaRusso's. So just doesn't kind of make sense, and I feel like that would be proof enough to probably put Kreese in jail. It's crazy. Then you've got the Cobra Kai kids breaking into a zoo, yeah, but then stealing a snake from the zoo. Another one of the things is, does Dimitri have parents? Because, I don't know about you, but if some kid just randomly broke my arm, I'm pretty sure my parents would have found that kid and gotten him thrown in jail. So it's a little weird that it seems like the parents don't even really exist outside of Daniel and Johnny. I mean, it's like, what's going on? I feel like Kreese, for the most part, I mean, he plays the part of a villain well, but come on. I mean, this is literally the head of a gang, right? He's not a valuable member of society at this point. He's crazy, right? He's a crazy dude who is weaponizing children to terrorize the community. I don't understand why he's not in jail. Kreese's backstory, I mean, it's not done poorly. It's just confusing as to what the point of it all is, because the way that it's presented in a way that almost makes you think that, oh, well, maybe we're going to see that Kreese really isn't that bad of a guy, or maybe there's some redeemable qualities. Nope. It's done basically to kind of go, yeah, this is how Cobra Kai, the name kind of got in there, and yeah, he's kind of a douche and kind of a bad dude, and I just don't understand what the point of it all is. It didn't really elevate his story very much at all. It was just kind of like, yeah, I kind of get that's why the way he is, but why do we need to know that? I do have to say that the teenage drama this season, even more than the past two seasons, annoyed me so much that I almost quit watching the show. I mean, it was so ridiculous and just frustrating, right? Because Sam, I'm not talking about the actors here, okay? Because I want to make that clear. I'm not going after the actors. It's the character of Sam. She's just annoying. I don't know. There's something about her. I just don't like her. I don't like the character. And Robbie, I mean, gosh, I share the dude's name. So I kind of was hoping for a little bit more from him. Now, he was almost, in a way, he was almost wasted this season, because it's just kind of like, oh yeah, there's that dude who's sitting in juvie or whatever. But I didn't really find a reason to root for him or to dislike him. He was just kind of there. And then he shows up at the end and he's kind of like, oh yeah, I guess I'm a bad guy now. And it's just like, just lean into it. Just lean into it, make him a bad guy, and just leave him there. Because otherwise, you haven't given me a reason to like the guy at all. I just don't like him. And I think a lot of people were annoyed with him, in the last two seasons, especially. I mean, gosh, you're telling me after everything Daniel taught you in season 2, you are going to kick the dude off of a railing, and then, I don't know. It seems weird and undercooked, and he's just not a great character, and I kind of want him to just be the bad guy now. Overall, while I think that the acting has generally improved, I still find Ralph Macchio kind of cheesy. There's something about his delivery. It almost comes off as inauthentic. It just doesn't, I don't know. I will say though, I liked him better this season than I have in the past two seasons. All right, now let's get into the good stuff. Okay, the stuff that I actually enjoyed. Again, I have to say, William Zabka as Johnny, he's just so good. He's good in every aspect of the show. He can play the real kind of guy that's on hard times and all that stuff. He can do that really well, but he can also do this almost goofy stuff really well too. I believe it all. And even though I find it a little cheesy and kind of not even realistic at all that somebody doesn't understand at least the basics of the internet at this point, it's still a lot of fun. It's still a great time. And his relationship with Miguel is, I mean, by far the best part of this season, at least to me. His recovery, Miguel's recovery with Johnny at his side, it was just so much, it was so good. It was such a good part of the show. The only problem is I felt like it was a bit sidelined to the rest of the story going on in the community. And I kind of, I felt that a little bit. I kind of wanted the focus to be more on Johnny. I really enjoyed the return of Kumiko and Chosen. I thought that was a really, really well done part of the show. In fact, even just the idea of Daniel having to go to Japan to deal with the, I guess, the distributor of cars, I found that believable, and it actually worked for the show. And it kind of gave it a good reason for him to be there in the first place. And Chosen especially, I loved his character development, his sort of his arc in this, it's kind of like an imagined arc since Karate Kid 2 as being this guy who is willing to kill people, you know, to turn around and be sort of an honorable person and even show Daniel some cool tricks. I loved that part of the show, and I thought he was great. I really enjoyed him being back. It was just a lot of fun to see. And I have to say, the return of Elizabeth Shue with, you know, Allie, it single-handedly saved the entire season for me. As I had mentioned, I was getting so annoyed by the teenage drama and just kind of the ridiculousness of some of the situations, that her return, her character kind of grounded the show for me. It made it feel a little more realistic, and even the conversations between she and Daniel and Daniel's wife and Johnny, I just had a smile on my face the whole time. I mean, seriously, those last 2 episodes, I had a smile on my face the whole time, almost in spite of the kind of irritation that I had in the previous episodes. You know, it was great to see, you know, and I feel like her character was really important for Johnny's development, and I really, really appreciated that. Look, as somebody who's watched a lot of movies and, well, let's be honest, a lot of UFC, the fight choreography is a little shaky sometimes. But on the good side, the final fight in Daniel's house was fantastic. It was like some really, really nice choreography going on, and I really, really enjoyed that. It's just so funny because you can tell right away that this fight scene is being taken seriously because there's not so many quick cuts. You know, I feel like the quick cuts in a lot of ways, and this goes for movies as well, whenever you see that's sort of hiding the bad choreography, and they're trying to make it more exciting than it actually is. When you've got these bigger, longer, sweeping shots, you can tell that the choreography is well done, and the actors are actually doing some of the fighting. It's a great scene, and it's a great way to end this season. Hawk's defection back to the good guys. You know, it was pretty telegraphed. You know, we could kind of see it coming. It was like, oh yeah, okay, so he's gonna suddenly turn good at some moment down the road. I really enjoyed it though, and again, it's almost in spite of this almost cynical way that I was watching the show. Those final 2 episodes, they were great at bringing me back and really delivering on what I wanted from the show. And the season ends with Johnny's dojo and Daniel's dojo joining forces, and you see Daniel bowing to Johnny, and it was, I gotta say, they did it. I mean, it made me really excited to see what's coming for season 4. So, Cobra Kai season 3, man, I just was not sure. I was not sure if I was even gonna finish it, but by the end, I'm ready for season 4. I mean, they really pulled it off. What did you think about it? Did you have the same problems I did? Or are you kind of like, Rob, what are you doing? Just enjoy yourself. Don't worry about it. Leave your comments down in the comment section below. We will talk about it. And if you did like this video, consider hitting that like button. It does help out the channel. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. We've got so much content coming. I mean, we've got so much on the way. So thank you again so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.